One of the questions that you've asked is how climate change affects people. And this is a question very, very close to my own research, which is answering the question whether and to what extent climate change alters the likelihood and intensity of extreme weather events. And it is through changing risks of extreme weather events in combination with things like sea level rise that climate change affects people. When we talk about climate change, we usually talk about global mean temperature, which is a great metric because it's very we have very high scientific evidence for that. It's something that we is a good indicator for climate change, but it does not actually kill people or bring or cost or leads to loss and damages. That is through then how these changing global temperatures affect weather events, and these are the events that are affecting people around the world. And it is really important to highlight that this is not something that we project to happen some point in the future, somewhere far away from wherever we are living, but it is how climate change is manifesting already today everywhere in the world. And through the research that we do that is called attribution science, where we answer the question how climate change affects the weather events we are just now experiencing. That is what climate change means today for all of us. And of course, it doesn't mean that it is the same for all of us just because extreme weather events are changing everywhere in the world. Because in every society, whether it be in Mozambique or in the US, it's always the most vulnerable part of the population and the most vulnerable people in the population with least money, least information, who are paying for the impacts of climate change today. And it's those people as well who have profited least from the benefits of burning fossil fuels throughout the last centuries. So this is why what climate change really does and how climate change affects us all is by increasing social inequalities and other inequalities within society. So we will not be able to fight climate change effectively if we do not fight inequalities as well. A very recent example of how climate change affects all of us today comes actually from the UK. Yesterday, so on the 19th of November, the UK published their report on excess mortality during the UK heat waves in 2020. And more than 2,500 people have died in these heat waves. And through the studies that we have done with my team here in Oxford, but also with other climate scientists around the world, we know that actually heat waves in Europe are a particular hotspot of climate change. So these heat waves that have killed more than 2,500 people this year alone would have been a lot cooler without climate change. And we would have seen a lot fewer of these heat waves. And so even in the UK, in one of the rich countries that have profited from burning fossil fuels for a very long time, people are dying today because of climate change.